Hello.
Then. Now.
Countdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
Forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, and welcome to episode number 120 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for ECW for March 11th, 2025. It is ECW's final show before the European tour, which kicks off next week. ECW, I've had to add dates that didn't exist in real life because, I've got a fur brand. So big EC Dub heading to Lyon, France next week. But that's next week. And we've got this week, and I don't actually think I announced anything for this show. So we're coming in hot and heavy, but, last week ending with The Rock beating down the Usos and the OG Bloodline. I do know that all of the members of the original Bloodline are in the building tonight. Roman, the Usos, Jacob Fatu, Heyman. And yeah, I'm also going to get a follow-up from the rest of last week's antics involving your favourites on ECW, including, Kevin Owens, Warden, Florence, Ruby Riott, Blair Davenport, all of them. Without any more further ado, though, let's jump into the show. So it is the OG Bloodline coming to the ring. Roman, the Usos, Jacob, and the Wise Man. And Roman goes, I can't remember where we are. I want to say, Jackson, Mississippi. Acknowledge me. Now, last week was a tough night for the OG Bloodline. Because last week, yeah, I'm man enough to admit it. Last week, we got our ass beat. Now, the only reason we got our ass beat is because Dwayne, or as you know him, The Rock, showed up uninvited. I guess it was not a very busy day on set for Dwayne last week, so he showed up. He stuck his nose in Bloodline and in ECW business. And he cost Jimmy, and he cost Jay the chance to be the ECW Tag Team Champions once again. But that's fine, Dwayne. Because you're a busy, busy boy. I know that. I know you ain't here tonight. Booze. But it's cool, because the Tribal Chief stay holding his show down. Main Event Jey Uso stay holding his show down. Big Jim stay holding this show down. And the newest member of ECW, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, he's holding this show down. Until Hollywood actor Dwayne The Rock Johnson and man who thinks he runs my family shows back up, we're gonna go back to doing Bloodline things here tonight. So Jimmy, Jay, you tell him what you're gonna do. And Jay takes the mic and he goes, what we gonna do, Woos? I'll tell y'all what we're gonna do. Right here, right now, House of Black, we want another shot at your championships. Our championships, which are holding on your shoulders. So get your bitch asses out here unless you're scared of a fight. Yeet. And Jacob, let him know what you're gonna do at WrestleMania. He goes, my Tribal Chief, at WrestleMania, The Rock's chosen champion, Warden, is gonna get put down by the Samoan Werewolf, and I'm gonna become the new ECW World Champion. You know what I mean? And as for the Tribal Chief, what's in store for me? And then we hear The Rock's voice. He goes, whoa, 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 I hear that bitch ass. Shut that bitch ass up right now. Cut his goddamn microphone. And The Rock appears on the Titantron. He goes, you see, Roman, my family, just because I am too busy to show up in a dump like Jackson, Mississippi, doesn't mean that The Rock ain't still going to call the shots around here, because when you're on the power of being on the board of directors, The Rock can call in and change things whatever he wants. So I've decided we've heard enough out of your bitch ass right now, Roman. We've certainly heard enough out of main event Jey Uso and that Neanderthal Jacob Fatu. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get your bitch asses out of The Rock's ring right now, because Jimmy, Jay, you've got a main event tonight. You two are going to be in tag team action tonight, but it ain't going to be against the House of Black for the ECW Tag Team Champions. No, sir. The Rock makes the rules, and The Rock says, tonight, Jimmy, Jay, you will team up against the ECW World Champion, my chosen champion, my man, Warden, and the 7-foot Tongan menace, Tala Tonga. So now, you may leave The Rock's ring, and The Rock show can continue. But make no mistake about it, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy, all of you need to learn that it's not just the family that The Rock runs around here, it's the entire goddamn organization. And soon, The Rock will rule the whole damn free world. If you smell what the final boss is cooking. And yeah, Heyman and Roman try and speak in all the microphones, but they have all been cut off by The Rock. So they do leave the ring. But yes, our main event is Jimmy and Jey Uso against Tala Tonga and Warden in tag team action. So yeah. We then got our opening match. Okay, that's nowhere near as good as the Alba Fire match. I think part of it is because of time constraints, because I had to cut the length for some of these matches down because there's some long segments on this show and ECW is only 2 hours. But, you know, Iona Web also is just not as good as Alba Fire. So, yeah. And Florence does pick up the win. This is the second member of the Unholy Union in as many weeks that she scored the victory over. She wins with the Rain Flow in 6:41. 92 for Florence, 60 for Iona Web. After the match, Florence takes the microphone and she goes, testing, 1, 2, is this back on? Okay, it is good. Okay, it's nice to see The Rock, you know, hasn't got issues with me, because I've got issues with 2 women in particular. You know exactly who I'm talking about, the ECW Women's Champion, Ruby Riott, and someone who's turned into her little lapdog in recent weeks so she can try and buy her way into a championship match, that being my old friend Blair Davenport. Now Blair, at Roadblock, thanks to Ruby's interference, knocked me out. It's part of the job. When I signed up to become a wrestler, I knew I was going to end up getting my shit pushed in at some point in time, but to have it done like that, Blair, in a match that's supposed to be so definitive, have you no shame, woman? But it doesn't matter, because as far as I'm concerned, that match at WrestleMania still hasn't been made official. And I've beaten Alba Fire, I've beaten Iona Web. So Blair, get your bitch ass out here and let's do this one more time, and when I put you down, I'll then take what's mine. That's when Blair Davenport does come out. She goes, Florence, when will you learn? It's over. I beat you. Twice. I know that last year your dream came true and you became the new ECW Women's Champion, but you're going to have to let that go. It's not happening 2 years in a row, mate, because I'm doing it this year. I thought you'd be proud of your old best friend stepping up out of your shadow. You know, is this not what you wanted? Did you not want this side of me out when you gifted me that charity match back in Auckland? Florence goes, no, what I wanted was for my best friend to be respectable, and since you're not that, I'm happy to not have you be my best friend anymore. Blair goes, you know what? Respect this. I'm going to WrestleMania to become the ECW Women's Champion. You can, I know, win that Battle Royal again, you know, because you won that 2 years ago, and I guess that's what's calling your name in Las Vegas, Florence. Ruby comes out. She goes, all these arguments over me, you know, it really makes me sad to see what's happened to this friendship. I mean, it would if, you know, this wasn't exactly what I'd hoped to accomplish when I, targeted all you two all those months ago. And to think here we are, heading into WrestleMania, and Blair Davenport, you've impressed me. Florence, not so much, but Blair, definitely. You won that underground match. And I now find myself, if you'd have asked me which one of you two I'd be facing at WrestleMania all those months ago, I'd have said both definitely Florence, but here we are. So, as much as I may hate to agree with Blair, my WrestleMania opponent, she's right. Drop that microphone, get your ass out of the ring, go sulk to the back, and think about how you're going to get to WrestleMania next year, because this year it ain't on the cards. This is my championship, it will still be my championship after WrestleMania. And then Blair goes, whoa, I don't know about all that. Like, you're the champion now, for yes, but it's only going to last like 6 more weeks, because I'm going to beat you for the championship at WrestleMania. Ruby goes, Blair, come on. You don't actually believe that, right? Maybe Florence was right about you. Maybe you are, in over your head. You're looking at this like a charity championship match when you earned the right to be here. And I admire that courage and that bravery and that confidence, but your confidence has turned you into an idiot, Blair. And Florence is like, this is how she talks to you, okay? You're a respected champion heading into WrestleMania. She goes, you know what? I'm sick of this. Florence, shut your mouth. Ruby, shut your mouth. And Ruby goes, how dare you tell me to shut my mouth? She goes, you know what? For the first time in months, I actually agree with Blair. And I've got a little proposition for you. Since, you both want to shut my mouth, I want to shut both your mouths, and you want to shut each other's mouths. How about we offer that proposal? Next week, when ECW comes to Lyon, you two can team up against me and a partner of my choice. And if I win that match, then that's a victory over the number one contender and the champion heading into WrestleMania. Golly gee, I wonder how much favor that would put me in for a championship match. And Blake goes, you know what? It's going to mean so much to me next week to crush your WrestleMania dreams once and for all after I thought I already did it back at Roadblock. You're on. And Ruby sort of like looks at Blair like, no, like we don't want this. And then Ruby goes, well, since Blair has thrown us into the deep end, I guess it's fine, because, you don't have any friends, because your only best friend you ever had is stood right here against you. So you're not even going to make it to next week, you little friendless loser. And the lights go out, and they come back on, and Kelsey Cook is stood alongside Florence in the ring. She sort of just looks across at Florence. Florence looks back awkwardly at her. And Kelsey sort of just gives her a nod. And then leaves. So yeah, that's that pretty much decided, I guess. We then cut back. Ava's talking to Austin Theory, and he goes, so anyway, I started last week, and we ran out of time, so I was just saying, I've had this great idea, this year at WrestleMania, the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, then Warden storms in again, he goes, out. He goes, come on, man, I'm in the middle of pitch. He goes, out. He goes, man, not again. And Theory walks out. Warden goes, what the hell does your father think he's doing tonight? He goes, well, he booked you and Tala Tonga in a tag team main event against the Usos. Don't you want to put an end to the Usos? He goes, I've put an end to the Usos like 6 times already. This is about me and Jacob Fatu. I'm protecting your father's ass by putting an end to this Samoan werewolf, the actual biggest threat to this championship, and that bloodline has. And now you got me wasting my time beating Jimmy and Jay again. She goes, well, this man is your partner, pointing to Tala Tonga. She goes, a 7-foot angry Tongan on your side. He's going to do most of the work for you, Warden. You won't feel a thing. And Warden goes, right, I'm starting to think that, this whole being the Rock's champion thing, it ain't all it's made out to be. We then cut to the Undisputed Era locker room. And Rovic Strong gets in Adam Cole's face, and he goes, so Adam, about last week. He goes, Roddy, put up a hell of an effort against Kevin last week. And I thought you could honestly get the job done, but us Undisputed Era, we stick together. You three have got your championship match coming up on Friday in Barcelona. And that's for Adam Cole, baby. We'll work on it. Roddy goes, that's actually what I want to talk to you about, Adam. It's this Kevin thing, With me, we're all getting concerned. I'm the only person who's speaking up about it. But we brought the Undisputed Era back together to be together. And you're already off talking to Kevin Owens, and you're not listening to any of this bullshit he's preaching, right? And Cole goes, I know Kevin better than anybody. Kevin's a bullshitter. I don't buy what he's saying for a second. In fact, I actually heard Kevin has a television championship match coming up next against Cesaro. So, I'm sure he's busy tonight. But we'll be keeping a close eye on that, because the only thing I have interest in with Kevin is that television championship. And if you three are going to be the trios champions, then Adam Cole Bay needs to pull his head out of his ass and be a champion too. So the only reason I'll ever go near Kevin again is if it's a championship match in the middle of that ring. And Roddy goes, well, that's a relief, because that guy, he's a scumbag. He's an asshole. He stabbed us in the back once before. We can do it again. 79. That match is up now. Cesaro versus Kevin Owens for the television championship. And yeah, Kevin Owens does pick up the victory, beating Cesaro with a stunner. Dolph Ziggler goes to super kick Kevin Owens, I imagine, at some point. And Kevin Owens ducks, and he accidentally rocks Cesaro with a super kick instead. And, Kevin Owens then takes care of Dolph Ziggler, stunners Cesaro, pins him to retain the championship. 74 for KO, 73 for Cesaro. Yeah, nice little mid-card match here for the championship. After the match, Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler sort of get in each other's face, like, what the hell was that? And then, before they can, argue too much, Dolph Ziggler points at Kevin Owens and goes, listen, just get him, okay? We can take him out. We can get that championship off him. And they start beating him up. Adam Cole rushes out, though. And he takes the fight to the Paragon boys, It's more so about fighting off the Paragon than it is saving KO, but it just so happens to be that KO's in the ring. And, he goes to deliver the boom on Dolph Ziggler. Cesaro pulls him out of the ring to safety. And Adam Cole, watches as the Paragon walk away. Kevin Owens gets to his feet in the middle of the ring. As Adam Cole turns around, bang, stunner. He drops Adam Cole. He goes, I told you, get out of here. My championship. You're not coming near it, Adam. No. And he slides out of the ring through the crowd with his people holding the championship up high. And then get a quick House of Black vignette. Talking about last week. Say, last week, an exterior force stepped in and ensured that we keep a hold of our grasp on these championships. Which is why it's time for us to reevaluate the land here on ECW. We've got plenty of great tag teams, and they sort of lay out cards of all the tag teams on ECW 1. The Usos are in there. You got the Grizzled Young Vets, the Fritz Brothers, Rey Mysterio and Pistolero, the New Musketeers, Joman. There's probably another one that I'm missing, I'm forgetting. But those are the ones I can think of on the top of my head, and they sort of just go over them all, lay them all out. And then there's another card just laying face down, in the corner. And then Brody King's like, what's that one? And Aleister Black goes, That is a card I don't wish to turn over. Because if we turn that card over, if that becomes a reality, then God knows what's in store for everybody. But I fear the time to do so may be coming close. Their presence has been felt, and I know they're gonna have issues with me. We then cut back. Kevin Owens, he's all flustered in the hallway when Kelly Kincaid was on. He goes, Kevin Owens. He goes, Not Kathy Kelly, you scared me. Okay. She goes, well, Kevin, I was just trying to get you catch up with you after what we just saw out there. You know, your victory over Cesaro. And he goes, hey, I beat Cesaro, okay? Smacked his bald head around the ring. 1, 2, 3, still the champion. Yes, sir. But then Adam Cole, this guy, he's obsessed with me. He keeps coming out, getting involved in my business. You know, I can fight off these Paragon goons all by myself. But then Adam Cole, he comes trying to be the hero and save the day when he's trying to take some of my popularity because these people know I'm the hero here, not Kathy Kelly. And if Adam Cole wants to keep getting his nose in my business, then I hear next week we're in France. And as a French hero myself, I'd love to grace my adoring fans in my long-distant homeland with my presence. So next week, not Kathy Kelly, it's going to be Kevin Owens against Adam Cole for the television championship in Lyon on ECW or ACW. The champion of the people reigns forever. And Kelly Kincaid sort of shrugs and goes, well, there you have it. Kevin Owens, Adam Cole next week. Just a quick match. Ivy Nile against Xia Brookside. Ivy Nile picks up the victory. And, with a submission in 5 minutes and 6. 66 for Ivy Nile, 51 for Xia Brookside. Then after the match, Ivy takes the mic. And she goes, well, what an impressive victory. It's nice to finally know that I can get time here on ECW, but I actually have some business to attend to. Because Kathy Cool, the women's $1 million champion, has been speaking about how this championship of hers is this $1 million opportunity and how it's going to create opportunities for underrated women here on ECW. Well, I can't think of a more fitting person than Ivy Nile. So, you want your next challenger? You're looking at her. Then Naomi comes out with Shantae. She goes, whoa, Ivy. Listen here, you say there's nobody better for that championship than you. Well, look no further than me. You know, I'm glowing all around. You can't exactly miss me. Because I'm right here, and Shantae had her shot. Now it's time for me to get mine. Because that championship will be coming home to me. And Shantae goes, plus, you know, if Naomi comes up short, you know, I could always get another shot. And Naomi sort of side-eyes there and goes, that too, yeah. Then JC Jane comes out. Goes, oh, look at this. Ivy Nile, Naomi, Shantae getting chances to speak here on ECW. Well, I guess it's my turn to remind the people why I am who I am. The Paragon business has been looking for championship. Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro chasing that championship. The Fritz brothers, they're in action coming up next, and that just leaves little old me. I've been doing my own thing. The boys have been doing their thing. And I'm going to bring championship gold to the Paragon. Because if there's one woman on this roster that deserves that shot, it's me. And then Ava announces next week, Fatal 4-Way between these 4 women. Winner is the next in line for a shot at the $1 million championship held by Kathy Cool. We then cut from that to the Paragon locker room, where Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler are arguing. He goes, hey, what happened out there, Dolph? Huh? You know, I know this isn't some grand conspiracy, but, you know, we gotta communicate better next time. And he goes, I know, Swiss, but, you know, listen, you pulled me, saved me from that raging Adam Cole attack, okay? You know, he could have taken my head off because he's a maniac, but you saved me, Swiss, so it's that, you know, the Paragon bond is still strong, but I hear next week he's got a television championship match, okay? And if we kept coming up short, then we can't let Adam Cole become the television champion next week, okay? So it goes, well, if that's the case, then you should probably stay in the back and let me and Kevin and David handle it because it didn't go so well when you tried to get involved tonight. That's when JC comes back into the locker room after coming out from the promo. She goes, boys, are we arguing here again about championships? Listen, Kevin and David have a match coming up next. They're going to re-cement their spot in the tag team championship rankings. Me, next week, I'm going to become the number one contender for the women's $1 million championship. Now it's up to you two to sort this out and become television champion. And whichever one of you doesn't do it is going to sit there with a smile and accept Paragon business, because What was it, Dolph? What did you say when you kicked Adam Cole out? It's not about you, it's about the group. So, how about next week in Lyon? You two face each other one-on-one. And then the winner of that will be the Paragon's chosen representative to become the $1 Million champion. No, the television champion. And you'll shake hands and be good about it and cheer the other on during their championship match. And then Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro just look at each other and go, she does make sense. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. It's like, yeah, Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro, friendly competition next week. Oh, I'm glad this is really good, but in terms of ratings, I put the wrong team over, but, you know, in terms of story, it's where we're going. The Fritz brothers carry the Wyatt 7 to a tag team banger. Yeah, they're in action. It's against the Wyatt 7. Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan, specifically. Uncle Howdy pins David Fritz with the sister Abigail in 10 minutes and 1. 54 for Rowan, 67 for Uncle Howdy, 90 for Kevin Fritz, and 89 for David Fritz. The Wyatt 7, minus Susie. You know, Susie is not out there, for reasons we'll get to in a minute. But, yeah, after the match, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Kip Sabian, Preston Vance, Hannah Coleman all get into the ring. And Uncle Howdy has the mic in his hand. And he goes, I hope that win made my brother proud. Because that's all I want to do. I'm never going to be able to forgive him and make up with my brother. We were on bad terms when it happened. Which is why you listening out there, all of you listening out there, forgive your brother. Love your brother. Or else become like us. But now, the only way I can make it up to my brother is to avenge him. The only way we can make it up to my brother is to succeed on our own. Then go from that to Jimmy and Jay getting themselves all riled up for the main event. They're in the concessions, getting all riled up, doing their crowd entrance. They're yeeting. But in the crowd, we see one person who's not yeeting, and that's Susie. She sort of just dramatically stood there with her head in her hands, sobbing. Then as Jay goes to yeet, he sort of spots her, like sort of pauses, just like gives her a look, like lowers his yeet sunglasses down, looks at her, puts his glasses back up, and sort of just shrugs his shoulders. And then the Usos theme hits, and they come out through the crowd for the main event. Next week, we have a big episode of ECW as they kick off their European tour. They're going to be in Lyon, France, and we've got 4 matches set for the show. The first being for the ECW Television Championship. Kevin Owens, the French People's Champion, is going to defend his Television Championship in a singles contest against Adam Cole, Bebe, on ECW next week in Lyon. Plus, we're going to determine the next challenger for the ECW $1 Million Championship, as Naomi, Shante Washington, Ivy Nile, and JC Jane do battle in a fatal 4-way match. We're also going to have more Women's Championship implications on next week's show, as Florence teams with Kelsey Cook against Ruby Riott and Blair Davenport. And obviously, if Florence can win that, that's a big victory over the champion and challenger heading into WrestleMania. And we just found out that Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro, 2 members of the Paragon, in some friendly competition next week to determine who will be the next member of the Paragon to challenge for the Television Championship. 88 rated main event. You know, for a Talatonga main event, that's really good, but the Usos, I know, shock horror when I say this, are a good tag team. But I was also surprised it got this high because there's some fuckery. The match ends by DQ when the Tongans run in and attack the Usos. And, like, as they do, like, imagine Warden's the one in the ring. Like, he's getting ready to powerbomb Jay. Like, he's setting him up. And then, like, Jay fights out, and then the Tongans rush in and attack him, and, like, Warden's just there, like, throwing his hands up in the air, like, what the fuck, I was about to win. And then Talatonga gets into the ring, and he starts attacking the Usos alongside Tamatonga and Tongaloa. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, they storm out. Warden locks out of Jacob Fatu. The two big men start brawling around the ringside all over again. You know, they brawl into the crowd. You know, you can't contain those big meatheads. They sort of just fight off. And that's when, you know, Roman's in the ring. It's technically 3-on-3, but, you know, the Usos have been ambushed and taken out. So they're effectively out of the fight. So Roman Reigns gets into the ring. It's just him against the three Tongans. He tries to take the fight to him. He Superman punches Tongaloa. He takes the fight to Tamatonga and Talatonga. He does Superman punch Tamatonga down. He hits another one on Talatonga. He staggers. Another one. He staggers again. Ooh-wah. He goes for a spear. And he gets jumped by Tamatonga and Tongaloa. They start mauling him. They're going to pull him up for like a big triple T move. I imagine Jay and Jimmy start stirring. And the Tongans just keep them down. They take them down into the corner as well. And Roman is basically all alone right now. Talatonga puts his hand round Roman's throat. He's going to deliver a big choke slam to the tribal chief. Went out from the back, stormed Solo Sikoa. He gets into the ring. And he sort of like gets into the face of Talatonga. And Talatonga like looks at Solo. And Solo gestures like, you know, hand him to me. Hand him to me. And Talatonga looks confused. And he goes, come on, hand it to me. We'll finish this. We'll finish this. Talatonga hands Roman Reigns over to Solo Sikoa. Solo goes, it's from The Rock. It's from The Rock. I'm making up for The Rock. I want to apologize to Dwayne. And then, you know, he's got Roman Reigns in his hand. He looks down at Roman in his hand. He puts the thumb up in the air. He's going to go deliver the spike. But then as he goes to spike Roman, he turns around. He sticks the thumb in the throat of Talatonga to a big pop. The Tongans charge at Solo. He super kicks one of them. Roman Reigns spears the other. And Roman gets to his feet. Solo's on his feet. Solo looks over across at Roman Reigns. Roman looks back across at Solo. And Solo looks down at Jimmy and Jay, who are now getting to their feet. Jimmy and Jay look at Roman. Roman looks at both of them. You've got Solo standing on one side of the ring. Roman, Jimmy, and Jay on the other. Solo throws the wands to the sky. And Roman looks across at Jimmy and Jay. He shakes his head and he walks away. He leaves Solo hanging. Jimmy and Jay don't follow him out. They sort of like look across. They're like, what the fuck? But Roman, him and the wise man walk to the back. And Solo stands tall alongside his brothers to end the show. A game-made show. Yeah, sure, pretty good show. I'm at as much like you thought of the show. Do leave in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown, the beginning of the European tour. We're in Barcelona. The Lucha Bros make their debut. Bronson Reed versus Oba Femi for the US title. Io and Utami / Kami face to face. Julia versus Aoi Maikawa. And yeah, more. So not any more further ado. It's not the start of a show. I'll see you then, is what I meant to say.